Hello, and welcome back to the Poet Speaks podcast, the #1 spoken word podcast in the world. Don't forget it, okay? All right, so our next guest is the daughter of Valerie Boykin, granddaughter of Bertha, Brandy, and Gladys Boykin, and the great-granddaughter of Nonnie Boykin and Drucella, Bluford. She is a proud San Diego, California native that found her voice in Oakland, California, Bertha's home, and Drucella's frontier. Her poetry and art combines her love of words, storytelling, and resistance, exploring topics like space travel, which describes her first full-length poetry collection, Love, Lyric, and Liberation, and embodies the essence of her visual art. She is also the co-founder of APTP, Anti-Police Terror Project, an organization committed to the eradication of police terror. Her greatest honor is being the mother of her son, Ajani, bonus daughter, Aryana, and granddaughter, Lilith. Please welcome to the podcast, Asantewaa Boykin. Asantewaa, how are you?
I'm doing well. I am doing really well.
Hey.
Your face is so beautiful, like all that chocolate loveliness. I meant to say something before we started recording, like it's just glistening. I love it.
Hey, I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. And we're so happy to have you on the podcast. What you're doing is so important, so special. And I'm so happy that we get a chance to talk to you today. So tell us about yourself. Where are you currently at right now? Are you like I read, you're a San Diego native. I'm a Cali native myself from Sacramento. Where are you right now currently?
I'm in Sac.
Hey, you're in Sac. Okay, all right. So you're coming out of Sac now. Yeah. Coming out of Sac.
Yeah.
Okay.
Born and raised in San Diego. Moved to Oakland, God, it feels like 15 or so years ago. Yeah. And then on to Sacramento about five or so. Yeah.
5 or so years ago. Okay, yeah. I was born, raised in Sac, Elk Grove, California.
Hey.
I don't know if you know where that is, Elk Grove, California. I went to UC Davis, so as stomping grounds, if you will. All right, so tell us a little bit about, like I said, you're doing so many amazing things, not only with poetry, but, with all the kind of work you're doing, social justice change. Tell us about what you're doing with your different multiple platforms.
I feel like they're all doing the exact same thing, promoting wellness, right? Creativity, creation. For me recently, I've come to the understanding that I'm a creator, right? Whether that's creating systems of care, creating poetry, creating visual art, and really sitting in the privilege that comes along with being a creator, right? And also some of the weight of it, because I feel like we take so much in, right? And when we do that, our creativity is the outlet, it's the output of the things that we've taken in. So it's all the same energy, just manifested in different forms.
Absolutely. I totally vibe and can agree with that. Well, let's kind of go back to like your kind of beginning. I understand you're a registered nurse. That is completely where you started off as. Now for you, delving into poetry, and now obviously with your debut kind of poetry collection, where has that came from you, from being a nurse to being a writer? Two, I'm sure in a lot of ways, two different career paths, two different fields to be in, but you combine both in a lot of ways. Tell us about what that looks like for you, being a nurse, also being a poet.
So I think my grandmother was a domestic worker, and she, through a process, and I talk about this in the book, when we interviewed her for like a This Is Your Life, right, story. And I really felt like I met my grandmother that day, because she talked about how she wanted to be a writer.
Wow.
And I had to be like in my mid-teens. And I'm like, oh, so I'm not weird. You know what I mean? And I wish that we had that conversation like a lot earlier. But we had it when we had it, as the universe would have it. So it kind of helped me understand where I was coming from, like what I was made of. And both of them were care workers. So I feel like they're just like two, for me as a person, it's same coin, different sides. And I also feel like for a lot of reasons, I finished the work that they did not do.
Wow.
Right. My grandmother had 5 children. My mother helped her raise those children. And then my mom had me and my brother, and my dad was like all over the place, bipolar and substance use, right? So they were busy coping, dealing, and I feel like I had the opportunity to quite literally fulfill their wildest dreams.
Wow.
So really
wow. No, that's a really profound thing to say. You feel like, no, because it's like knowing like where you come from, like you said, you felt like you met your grandmother that day when you actually sat down and talked with her. That's a really profound thing to feel like, now I'm really kind of picking up that torch where maybe she left off, and, really telling whatever these stories look like. For you, wow, how did you come to that conclusion, though? I think a lot of people that write, they may not see it as that. What kind of helped you come to that conclusion that this is something, I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but maybe something bigger than even you, to really connect it back to, your grandmother, your ancestors? There's such gravity with that statement. What made you realize, this is something that's much bigger than me, being able to do this written work of spoken word poetry?
No matter where I was or what I was doing, I couldn't stop. It's like I went to nursing school, right? And in my notebooks where I was taking notes, there would be poems.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
When I'm organizing, like I still have some of these notebooks, right, where there be notes about how we're going to do this protest, and then on the next page there would be a poem.
Wow.
Right. So no matter what I was engaged in, poetry it grounded me. It's how I made sense of the world. You know what I mean? How I translated it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I feel like a lot of people that write, whether they are doing it professionally or not, absolutely, it's how you make sense of the world. Your thoughts, putting that into words on pages. Wow, that's amazing. So tell us a little bit. Now I'm curious, how did you come into spoken word and poetry? Has it been something you've been doing since childhood? Has that been something, or maybe something that you just, when you connected with your grandmother, just a link happened and you were just like going crazy? Or has this always been something that you've always done?
The first time like I hit a stage as a poet, it was not in like the traditional setting. I actually remember it was like 5 or 6 of us, just like random cats, wrote a song.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I can say this poem, and
yeah.
It was like I was underage, it was crazy. But I think going into like the open mic, and when I was coming up, I'm almost 40. So when I was coming up, it was a bit of a different scene that I see now. It was really scrappy. There were open mics everywhere, and then emerged like the popularity of the slam, right, space.
Yeah.
And that felt uncomfortable to me for like hella reasons. And it wasn't until I moved to Oakland that I even attempted to slam. I didn't like the numbers. I didn't like the polling. It was strange. So I placed third the first time I slammed. But recently, maybe 2 weeks ago, I won the Berkeley Slam, just like randomly. It's because like I should do this shit again, and then I did.
And wait, so she just said she wasn't really vibing with slam, wasn't really feeling it, but came in third place, then randomly won a whole competition in Berkeley. Okay, so all right, so
it just wasn't my vibe, I don't know.
But you're super good at it. Obviously, you're winning competitions.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So you kind of, so that scene of, let's say, Oakland, the Bay, that kind of really opened up your mind to spoken word poetry in that kind of non-traditional way, kind of falling into it, you would say. Okay.
We did a lot of interesting things though, like in San Diego. I came up before Rudy Francisco was a household name, right? So there was just like lots of us, including Rudy, just doing stuff on trains in San Diego. corners, right? Just trying to find like our voices in that sense. So really interesting how, for me, I really enjoyed the stage in my younger time. And now I'm just like, yo, it's all about the pen, all about the paper. But when I did the slam, I was like, oh shit, I kind of missed that.
Yeah.
Oh shit. You know, so yeah.
Yeah, I think slam is definitely the stage. It's an addicting feeling, really, like, because it's very much like drenched in that competition of just like, hey, let me knock heads with other people. So I definitely understand where you're coming from. Okay, so fascinating. All right, so describe kind of for us your upbringing culturally. How was that kind of, and what is the upbringing for you? What has that now brought you to the place you're at now, growing up in between, let's say, California, being in and out Oakland, all those things? How was that kind of the culture of the city, culture of family? How was that described into now your storytelling through your poetry?
So San Diego is super diverse, you know, not like Sacramento pretends to be, but like
shots fired.
not so like I had these like folks in my life who were not who didn't look like me, who didn't always speak the same language, and you can find that in my poetry. Sometimes I'll write in Spanish, you know.
Wow.
And yeah, and then also like there were things that I couldn't at a younger age quite comprehend the concept, you know, but I found a way to put it in words, you know, like the way I would know someone was there and then not there, right? And then trying to make that make sense in my head.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like writing that out. And, you know, Oakland is fucking electric, you know?
Yeah, it is.
And not the Bay, Oakland is like electric.
Absolutely.
So much history there around resistance and art, like arts movement. Like there's no way to be there and not be inspired. And then like my family's history there, right? They lived in Berkeley when Berkeley was still Black. And in West Oakland when West Oakland was Black, right? And middle class, right? Black even. So I spent time on those same blocks, looking at those same places. Like Esther's, I still fantasize about like buying Esther's and, you know, whatever, one day. But, you know, and kind of like exploring the possibilities of those spaces and what they mean to me. I think it comes across in the poetry.
Absolutely. It seems like the city that has such a backdrop is a character in your story, essentially. It really is. Oakland, such a character in your story. Now that's very beautiful to hear. So tell us a little bit about, as we mentioned before, you're the co-founder of APTP, Anti-Police Terror Project. Tell us, what exactly is ATPT, and what exactly is your mission with that? And tell us, why did you co-found this organization, and how's that impacted this new collection and novel that you have out?
Movement work is also one of those things that I just could not stop doing, you know, even in my nursing, right? Combating systemic racism inside of our healthcare system just came naturally to me. But as far as APTP is concerned, we were Onyx organizing committee first. And we formed that shortly after Oscar Grant was murdered. And there was like this moment where we realized that we had become extremely skilled at being reactionary. And I remember telling my cis cat that I feel like we're chasing caskets, you know, because the police would murder someone and then we would react, right? And we were waiting for the murder to happen. And I expressed a deep desire to do the work differently. And that looked like preventative, right, measures. It looked like, for cis, it looked like challenging the narrative, right, around exactly what happened when police murdered someone. We found out amazing things when we sent folks like out into the street to investigate independently. It was so clear that they were lying, right? Like folks started scrambling, taking down stories, you know what I'm saying? Because we presented something that combated the narrative that they were putting out about the people that they were killing. So I mean, overall, of course, the goal is abolition in some form. Not certain that I'll see it in my lifetime, but what can we build in the meantime, right? To relieve some of the pressure from the people who are suffering under these racist systems.
Absolutely. So the kind of like the step before creating the organization was the murder of Oscar Grant. That's what drove you to kind of go there. For you, working with that organization, if you could just tell people anything, just one thing you could tell them that you are trying to do with your work with APTP, what would that one thing be?
Creating the world I would have wanted to grow up in. Whether doing that, using poetry, speaking those words, putting that energy and those ideas out into the ether, or if it's working in this physical plane in a sense of like dismantling white supremacy and its systems, or just creating that world that I want my son to live in, right? Where he's just like I don't even want him to consider certain shit. You know what I mean? So I just working diligently and hard towards creating that space.
Word. For you all, tell us a little bit about APTP. What exactly, what are some projects that you all do? What are some missions that you all have that you do to realize that goal every day? What are some things that you all do with the org?
So we've created, and shout out to my APTP Sacramento folks, we created a program called Mental Health First. And what we do is provide mobile crisis intervention. And we do that outside of 911 and dispatch. We're not attached to the police or to their dispatching services. We have an organic number. We reply to DMs, emails, text messages, and we created that because there has to be alternatives. It would be irresponsible to be like, oh, abolition, get rid of police, but you're not dealing, right, with the ills in society that are not gonna go away, right?
Absolutely.
Like folks dealing with mental health crisis. And we also understood that a good majority of folks that were being harmed by police were dealing with mental health crisis and the police not knowing how to deal with those things, whether it be substance use or mental health crisis, which usually come hand in hand, right? So some of that work looks like preventing police contact, like period.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. No, I think that's such amazing, great work. And thank you for sharing APTP, Anti-Police Terror Project. So tell us, where's the organization located out of? Sacramento?
Our central office is in Oakland, and then we have a chapter here in Sac.
Got you. Okay, perfect. Everyone, please go check out the amazing work that they're all doing and their mission, and find out possible ways to get involved. You all are open to people getting involved, correct?
Oh, absolutely. We have a general meeting, which you can find on our socials every third Wednesday, right? Where we just talk about the things that we're doing and like kind of onboard people into our working committees. So definitely open.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing that with us. So let's move on to the topic of the hour. You have a new poetry and essay book coming out called Love, Lyric, and Liberation. All right. So this is your first, or is this okay, this is your first, your debut. All right. So tell us a little bit about what are the inspirations for it? What can people, what made you write this?
Man, it's one of those things that you say, I'm gonna do this. And I'm certain I was like, I'm gonna write a book when I was probably like 12 or 13 years old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's such a big deal. And Love, Lyric, and Liberation, I believe, just kind of wrote itself. These poems came from like different time spans of my life where I was either like really entrenched in movement work or nursing, right, on the front lines of protests even. There's some moments about my my first child, right, who passed, and it's just a accumulation of like the things that I've seen, learned, loved, like lost, spoke, right, all in the setting of like trying to free my whole Black ass self. You know?
Yeah, word. Very deep, very deep. So for you, tell us, go through the process a little bit. How many, is this a years in the making? Is this months in the making? Decades in the making?
Mm-hmm.
What was the process like to really, like you said, like you tell yourself from 12, 13, hey, I'm going to write a book. I think so many people have that thought process, but to actually get there, to finally get to that final stage with printed, press, ink in hand, book, spine, all that good stuff. How long has this process been for you to kind of get to this place?
So Nomadic Press. So I didn't even know how to start. Like, let's 100. I'm like, okay, I did a little bit of reading about like what it meant to be published versus like self-publishing, and I had decided that I did not want to self-publish because I don't have any hustle like that. You know what I mean? Sure. So like, even if I like produced it, I wasn't gonna like be like, oh yeah, here's my book,
Yeah, it's a whole thing because you got to be your own PR person, you got to be your own manager, you got to do everything yourself, self-publishing. Absolutely, I feel you.
Yeah, and I didn't want to like be looking at the book in a box in my office and being like, I should do something with that,
Yeah.
So I found like submittable, and first dabbled by submitting a poem here, essay here, poem there, essay here, and occasionally like one got accepted here, there, and I'm like, oh, let me just do the book, So once I, submitted it a few places, probably 150, Nomadic Press said yes. And that was, I feel like that was almost 2 years ago. Like the process, like I didn't realize it was like a whole calendar thing, and like you're lined up and you're, so, and then I thought that what I gave them was a finished product. It was not. There was like ways to fit it on the page, and how like there's just all these things that I hadn't considered, right, in formulating the book. But I learned so much about the industry, about my own poems, actually. I got to revisit where I was in time and space when I wrote it. And I was really, I feel like I got to know some of them again, more than just, because when you're submitting, it's just like, oh yeah, there's this one, and it sounds like it'll fit here, and it sounds right, but it's really different to sit down with them and like pick them apart and be like, well, what do I mean when I say that? Well, what am I trying to get across when I say those words? So it was a really interesting process. I even, after this experience, I think I write a little different now too.
Really?
Like, oh yeah. I write, I think that it's more intentional, I think. I ask myself, what do I want the reader to get, right? Like, what am I trying to get across to the reader versus not just writing for myself? If that makes sense.
That makes total sense. No, I think that's interesting. Did you feel like too, you said you write differently now. Did you feel like there's an aspect of, after going through what some would call like the cog machine of a published press, has that shifted for you how now you write, as opposed to when you were kind of a free, free, no contract at all attached to something? Has that also kind of the whole marketing of it all, the whole the whole marketing of it all, of being attached to a published press now, releasing a novel, as opposed to just when you were writing just for yourself? Has that shifted your writing and shaped it a bit too?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm thinking about a time where I paused writing spoken word because I came to realize that I was writing for the mic and I didn't want to write for the mic, you know? So I was like, nah, I might need to take a break and just sit with my own creative process. So, I mean, maybe. I mean, I don't know yet.
No, it's interesting. Yeah, no, I think that's something people kind of go through because it's obviously like you touched on a little bit. There's pros and cons, you know, to self-publish versus actual like editor press. There's such pros and cons no matter which way you go. Like it's really something to like really like think about, you know what I mean? Until you get to that stage, you don't fully even realize it. So I'm sure a lot of people feel similar to what you're saying. Maybe it's like, I don't want to self-publish. It's so much work. Then there's also some pros and cons to having someone do that kind of groundwork for you. So it's definitely as a poet, I think it's a whole different experience, you know, publishing a book of poetry versus like a novel. It looks so different, right? Yeah. So I'm curious for you too. So this new poetry book and essay book, for you, Love, Lyric, and Liberation, tell us just a little bit about that title. I know we touched on it obviously earlier, but what is it really that you want people to take away? You know, that's a it's a simple but very impactful title. Love, Lyric, and Liberation. What do you really want people to take away when they read this?
So my niece, chosen family, Luna, hi Luna, asked me, what do you want your, like, who are you, no, she asked me, who are you writing this book for? And I went to a poem where I said, I hope this poem finds its way into the hands of a 16-year-old South American girl holding down the tail end of a migrant caravan while daydreaming about what it means to be both femme and militant. And I told her I write for her. So I hope that answers your question. But the title is like, the poems are in 3 sections. Love, there's poems about like romantic love, self-love, love for people. Music has always been, I was telling my husband earlier, like, bruh, like a lyricist is gonna save us, you know, like save us all, because like the craft and history and tradition of like oration, like oh man, there's something about like from the pimps to the preachers, fucking field hollers, like there is something magical about putting words and intentions into space, and I just, it's magical, right? And I'm of the belief that practice can free us. Like you say something so, even when we think it to ourselves, right? Like the thought, I am free, I'm free, I'm free. Eventually, your body will start to like make moves so that freedom exists in a physical space. So for me, it's like all those things, right? The energy of creation, of being free. Oration is just so fucking beautiful. Like I just, yeah.
Absolutely. That's a gorgeous answer. I completely agree. Oral tradition is there's a reason why the universe gave us the ability to speak. So I completely agree with you. I love that answer. I love that. So please tell me what do you think, going off of that, what do you think people can truly take away from spoken word poetry?
You know, like, you know, because I've been both like the person on the stage and like the person in the audience. And that feeling, right, that you get when you're like in the audience and you know that this, like there is something that this person said that caused a reaction like in your body, you know? Find that and like hold that and use that, right? I don't even know how to name it, but it's like the connection. that
I like that.
that is created when folks are pouring all of their whole selves, right? Like
into something,
into a space in that way. Like find that courage, find that connection.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
No, it's beautiful. Absolutely. Yeah. No, drawing that, being able to put into that space, and we can give and take in that space from both of us, listening to us, giving those words. Yeah. No, I love that answer. All right. So you know what? This has been such a great interview so far. And as we're wrapping up, I have the Poet Speaks podcast, the question we ask everybody. Please tell me, why do you need to get your words out?
I couldn't hold it. I wonder if I didn't, if it would like manifest into some form of like growth. I don't know.
Like some cells into a disease.
Yeah, you know, like
yeah.
That's the nurse talking. You know what I mean? Like maybe
that's the nurse side coming out.
Right, like an ugly mole out the side of my neck. I there's no choice. There's no choice like that. There's a gift that I've been given either by DNA or divinity, right? And I'm in a place where I'm unafraid to share it, right? And even that has like been a process. So got to, man, just have to.
Yeah. All right, a place by DNA or divinity. She just has to. I love that answer.
Oh, bro, I'm gonna write that down.
That was good. DNA or divinity.
Where's my pen?
Yeah,
okay,
that's a good one. See, she's a poet, man. All right, so thank you. I mean, hey, you know what? Thank you so much. This has been such an amazing interview. Please tell us 2022 and beyond. What's that looking like for your writing? We know you have the book coming out. Release date for that. 2022 and beyond, where can we look out for your work? And please tell us social media handles anywhere so we can buy all of your amazing work and keep up to date.
So if you want to know what's popping with me, AsantewaABoykin.com. On social media, it's Asantewaa RN across all of the platforms. If you want to know what's popping with APTP, it's anti-police-terror-project.org, and it's APTP Oakland or APTP SAC on social media. You can pre-order the book on nomadicpress.com. But connect though, like it's cool, like buy the book, that's dope. I mean, want you to do that. Want you to go to my website, but also like shoot me a DM. You know what I mean? Like I love connecting with people, and like, I don't know, connection is everything, relationship is everything. So I want that. Like hit me up. What's popping?
Absolutely. Everyone hit her up. Everyone, Asantewaa, all of her information for links for the book, links for everything she's doing, social media, website will be in the YouTube comment section of this video. So please go to our YouTube page and look in the description box. All right, for all of her great links. Asantewaa, thank you so much. It's been an amazing interview.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much for coming on today. Thank you so much for gracing us your divinity and DNA. We appreciate it. All right. Yeah, absolutely. So everyone, please go check out Asantewaa, all of her amazing work. Everyone, go check out the Poet Speaks podcast. We will talk to you soon. All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Good night. Good day.